Well, here's an update for the four-wheel drive Daytona project. The engine still runs, it's in there. I've got the loose rust knocked off the front end of the frame, getting ready to paint it. I painted the back end, just sort of painted it. That's that first Rust-Oleum rust converter stuff. I got a whole bunch of cans of that stuff at the hardware store recently, so I've been painting her on as I get her cleaned. I think I might have enough. I got like 5 cans of it left, we'll find out. So I got the brake line run all the way to the front from the back. I got the hoses on, I got the calipers rebuilt, calipers are in. All that jank's done. This ain't terminated yet, it just kind of ends right there. I left a little bit of a tail on it because I haven't put the car on top of here yet. This should be right about where the last hanger needs to be before it goes up to the master cylinder. Then that little bit of a tail I left on it, service loop, whatever you want to call it, I can use that to make a coil to shock absorb, whatever it's supposed to be. Now the problem I have with this coil stuff here is that it was sold on Amazon as copper nickel, and it's not copper nickel. It's copper clad steel. But I'm going to use it because I don't feel like spending $70 for a spool of brake line right now. And I'm going to be using cold galvanizing on this stuff and all kinds of other coatings. And I got undercoating and frickin' whatchamacallit, hold on. Yeah, my brain just quit working. Give me a minute to reboot. The old Apple II floppy drive's not working so good these days. Oh yeah, fluid film, rust preventative jank, whatever it is. Some kind of lanolin stuff that's supposed to be real good. So anyways, I'm going to spray this thing down with the Rust-Oleum rust converter twice, and then do the cold galvanizing compound, which is just basically zinc in a can with the carrier, some kind of acetone or something, some other kind of lubricant that makes it come out of the can easier. And then probably that undercoating and then fluid film. Actually, I'll probably do the zinc. I don't know if I want to do the zinc on top of the undercoating. I'll do the zinc underneath the undercoating, because that way, hopefully, it gives me a little time before it starts eating it. Before I can, take care of it, which I probably won't. It'll just rust a hole and everything, and I'll just find out when I'm on the trail somewhere. Whatever. That's why God created 3 12-volt batteries in series. Weld it. So I made sort of a transmission cross member too. This isn't done yet, and this is far from the final one, but it's going to be enough to just drive it around town a little bit. I got come-alongs hooked up to there. So under here, there's like a couple of bolts. These, by the way, are 5/16 bolts. In case anybody ever needs to know, they don't quite screw all the way in. I got to put the rubber piece in there yet. The threads in the transmission aren't deep enough to screw them into it yet. And I got to figure out what I'm going to do on the ends of it, because right now it just sort of sits here. I don't want to weld it because I'm going to be replacing it, but we'll find out. This copper-clad steel brake line looks pretty nice on here. It's going to look ugly. Well, of course, it's going to not matter anyway because I'm painting the whole thing black. Flat chassis black, yeah. See, it almost even hides my ugly welds. I'm going to leave it like that. I'm not grinding them or nothing. If you guys want to see welds, here's welds. Well, welds in quotation marks. So here's my heck-of-a-jig here. I had to make this because, the old one left with the frame, and I think it was turned to powder anyway. And here's the center rear brake hose, and then over here is where the actual copper nickel line starts. I used the rest of it on my truck, or I'd have had more. I got to do something about this. On the factory ones, they're run closer to the spring shackle, so I think I'll do that. I'll get a bender and bend them a little better, because this one's way back out. I don't want to hook this on something and get screwed. Or, barring that, I might build a little guard for those. I'm thinking like a little brush guard on the bottom of it that just keeps the stuff from snagging my brake lines and ripping them off. Hopefully there won't be anything snagging them and ripping them off, but if there is, because I do go to some of these sites and they got little trees about that big at some of these sites. Those things tend to rip things off of trucks. That's their intention. Of course, I lost my damn 3/8 inch double flaring tool. I don't know, I lost it in the gravel somewhere here, and I tried to use my magnetic sweeper, but it only picked up the ones except the one I was looking for. I'll have to, maybe I'll pull this frame out here and rake this stuff up and go through it with a magnet again. But, yeah, nothing real urgent. Factory Dodge computer that works with only one wire hooked up to make it start. Well, plus the, the ancillary stuff like the battery and all that. That's my funnel. Oh, there's my funnel. I lost it. I got to figure out something with these transmission lines too, because I can't run it on the road or anywhere other than just a little bit around the yard like this, or it'll burn up. I really don't want to burn this thing up because it's a new fairly new transmission. I want to copper nickel those too, if I can. Of course, that doesn't really matter. I mean, if I'm using all this undercoating and galvanizing and stuff, it should hold. And these things are 20-some years old, 26 years old, and they hold. Actually 27 now. Well, they held up until they cut them off when they took it out of the van anyway. Whatever. Yeah, still got this terrible pinion angle. It got a little bit better because I changed the angle of the engine and stuff. So it's usable for now, I guess. I still want to do a double cardan joint on here though, just because. And the posi, I mean, as far as I've tested it, it works. It spins both the wheels when I start it up and butt it up against that truck there and let it run a minute, or a few seconds anyway. I can't run it very long because it doesn't have a radiator either. I can't wait to start finding all the leaks in these fittings because I'm not very good at flaring these yet. I mean, if some of these people I know can do it, I can definitely do it. Just got to practice. Yeah, there's the fake copper nickel stuff. You can see how coppery it is instead of sort of that olive drab looking color that this other stuff is. The real copper nickel is. I bought that stuff years ago before it went up. It was like, I don't know, 25 or 30 bucks for a roll. Try that now. 70. Ugh, what a friggin' mess. And it ain't that everything's getting more expensive, just the money's not worth as much. And people aren't willing to pay it as much to get a good day's work. So the inflation is rather readily outrunning the amount they pay you to catch up to it. That sucks. Well, whatever. Let's keep going. That's why I got my post-apocalyptic Mad Max vehicle build here. Hopefully I won't need it, but if I do, it'll be here. I gotta get some tires too. I'm looking at Milestar Patagonia's, like what's his name, Matt Doohickey uses. The other guys, I think they got a sponsorship though, is why they're using them, but they are less expensive than a lot of those other ones, so it's they're not the cheapest, but they're also pretty good. I've seen people from Ohio seem to like them. The ones that have them on their Jeeps. This is nearly a Jeep. It's wider than a Jeep. It's about the same length. But we'll see. That does kind of lean, doesn't it? Oh, I got to push it up a little bit because it's like, why is the motor leaning? Because I don't have the rubber insulators in the mount yet back here on the transmission. Alright, that's fine. Well, I guess that's enough of that. I don't have anything else interesting to say, and I'm just going to stand here and ramble on until everybody leaves. Yeah, whatever. This thing looks kind of cool. I mean, for just being a frame. What is that? I don't know, whatever. There it is. That's the 97-inch long GMT 800 frame. That should just barely fit under the car. I might have to pick the back end up a little bit, maybe cut some more off of the frame back there, but we'll see. Alright, well, that's enough for now. I'll see you later.